Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, my name is Jacob and I talk about credit cards, personal finance, and how to get the most out of your money. So in this video, we're diving into a very important topic, credit card mistakes to avoid as a beginner. If you're just starting out on your credit card journey, it can be an exciting time, but there are some big mistakes that can cost you a lot of money and hurt your credit score if you're not careful. So in this video, I'm going to break down 6 common credit card mistakes and how to avoid them. So starting with the first mistake, and probably the most common, is missing payments, paying late, or not paying in full. A single missed payment can seriously hurt your credit score, not to mention you'll get hit with late fees and higher interest rates. Take a look at this chart, showing how your credit score is calculated. Payment history is the #1 factor impacting your credit score because it accounts for around 35% of it. Even one missed payment can lower your credit score by as many as 100 points. So the goal here is to always pay off your balance each month to avoid this mistake, and here's how you can do it. First, understand when your payment due date is, and be sure to set monthly reminders a few days before. This gives you time to go into your accounts manually and check for things like your credit utilization, your card statements, and your charges to make sure everything is looking accurate. Second, for others who may not want to manually go in and check their accounts each month, which is totally understandable, set up automatic payments. To do this, simply open your credit card issuer's app or website, find the automatic payment feature, and set up recurring payments for the due date. Even if you do like to go into your accounts and check them manually, you should always set up autopay as a backup so you ensure that you will never miss a payment. And lastly, even though you technically only have to make a minimum payment every month, for your payment to be considered on time, you should always pay off your credit card in full every single month. And this is because if you only pay the minimum balance, you are going to be hit with interest charges, which is something you want to avoid at all costs. So, to pay off your cards in full after the statement closes, you'll have around 3 weeks or so, called the grace period, to pay off your full balance by the due date. As long as you make this payment at some point in that 3-week period, you'll be good to go. Paying in full during this period ensures you avoid any interest charges and keeps your credit score in good standing. If this still seems confusing, don't worry, I'm planning on making a more in-depth video about how to pay off your credit card in the future, so stay tuned. The second mistake many beginners make is not understanding credit utilization, which is one of the biggest factors in determining your credit score. Going back to this chart, we can see that credit utilization makes up about 30% of your credit score, which is the second largest factor after payment history. So, what is credit utilization? Simply put, it's the balance on your credit card divided by the credit limit on that card. So, for example, if you have a credit limit of $1,000 and you're carrying a balance of $700, your utilization rate is going to be 70%. Which is too high and likely going to negatively impact your credit score if that amount gets reported to the credit bureaus. And that's because the higher your utilization, the riskier you appear to lenders. A high utilization rate can signal that you rely too much on credit, which can make you look less creditworthy. So, what is the ideal credit utilization rate? The general rule of thumb is to keep your credit utilization below 30%, but for the best results, aim for 10% or even lower. For example, if your total credit limit is $1,000, try to carry no more than $300 on your card, and ideally, keep it under $100 for optimal credit health. But if you are someone who spends a lot of money each month and can't keep below that 30% threshold, here are some strategies to help you keep that credit utilization low. First, pay down your balance early or multiple times a month. Many beginners don't realize that your utilization is reported to credit bureaus based off of your balance at the end of your statement cycle, not when your payment is due. So if you're spending a lot, make multiple payments throughout the month to bring your balance down before your statement closing date. For instance, if your limit is $1,000 and you've already charged $700, pay off $500 of that $700 before the statement closes. This ensures only $200 gets reported as your balance, keeping your utilization low. Another option is to request a credit limit increase. If you're consistently hitting 30% or higher, you can actually ask your credit card issuer to raise your credit limit. But just be careful to not increase your spending along with your limit, otherwise that will just kind of defeat the purpose. Lastly, spread your spending across multiple credit cards. If you have more than one card, try to distribute your spending so no one single card exceeds 30% utilization. So if you have two cards, each with a $1,000 credit limit, spending $500 on one card looks worse than spending $250 on both. By keeping your utilization low, you're not only improving your credit score, but you're also showing to lenders that you are a trustworthy borrower. When I first started my credit card journey, I'm going to be totally honest, I had no idea what credit utilization was. But trust me, the earlier you start to implement these strategies, the better off you'll be in the long run. This all might seem a little overwhelming, especially at first, but don't worry, the more you start to put these strategies into actual practice, the easier it will become. Let me know down in the comments below if you'd like me to make a separate video specifically focusing on how to monitor your credit utilization. Moving on, the third mistake many beginners make is overspending just to earn rewards. Trust me, I get it. Earning points, cash back, or miles feels amazing, but if you end up spending more money than you can pay off in full, those rewards quickly lose their value. Let's break down a hypothetical scenario. Imagine you have a credit card that offers 2% cash back on all purchases, and you spend $1,000 in a month. That's $20 in cash back. Not bad. But if you can't pay off that $1,000 in full by the due date, you'll start paying interest, often at rates of 20% or higher. So over a year, that could cost you $200 or more in interest rates, which essentially completely wipes out the value of earning rewards in the first place. The golden rule here is simple. Only spend what you can afford to pay off in full each month. Rewards are a great bonus, but they're never worth paying interest or going into debt for. So why do people overspend for rewards? Well, there's two common reasons why. One is the temptation of welcome bonuses, and two is the feeling of free money. Many cards out there offer big welcome bonuses, like 60,000 points for spending $4,000 in 3 months. While it can be very tempting, spending money on unnecessary items just to hit these requirements can lead you down a bad path. It's very easy to justify extra spending when you're earning points or cash back, but small purchases do add up quickly, and if you're not careful, you may actually end up exceeding your budget or your typical spending habits without actually even realizing it. So to avoid overspending for rewards, follow these simple strategies. First, use a budget. Treat your credit card like a debit card and only spend what you already have put away in your bank account. Second, stick to normal spending. Focus on using your credit card for your regular everyday purchases like bills or your groceries, rather than making unnecessary purchases. Third, plan for welcome bonuses. If you're going for a welcome bonus, break the spending requirement into manageable amounts each month to ensure you're on track without overspending. And lastly, track your spending. Monitor your spending with apps or alerts from your credit card issuer to make sure you are staying within your spending limits. Rewards are a great tool for saving money or earning travel perks, but they should never be the reason why you overspend. Remember, the best way to maximize your rewards is to only spend what you can afford to pay off in full. Have you ever been tempted to overspend for rewards? I know I definitely have, but if you have too, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below. The fourth mistake many beginners make is applying for too many credit cards in a short period of time. While it might feel exciting to build your wallet quickly, this can actually have a negative impact on your credit score, and here's why. Every time you apply for a new card, it triggers what is called a hard inquiry, which shows up on your credit report. Hard inquiries temporarily lower your credit score by a few points, and multiple inquiries in too fast of a time can make lenders view you as more of a high-risk borrower. So, why does this even matter in the first place? Well, if you're just starting out, your credit history is likely short, so lenders want to make sure you can responsibly manage one card before giving you access to more. Rushing to apply for multiple cards too soon may make it difficult for you to qualify for those cards you really want down the line. To avoid this mistake, first, start slow. Stick to one card for at least 6 to 12 months. Focus on building your payment history and showing that you can responsibly manage this one card. Then, set goals for future cards. If you're aiming for premium cards like the Chase Sapphire or the Amex Gold, just remember that these are going to require a longer credit history and higher credit scores. Taking your time to establish a good track record will increase your chances of approval. And finally, space out your applications. As a general rule of thumb, wait at least 3 to 6 months between card applications. This reduces the impact of hard inquiries and also gives your credit score time to recover. Applying for too many credit cards too soon can lower your score and limit your options for better credit cards in the future. So just be patient, build your credit responsibly, and you'll set yourself up for success for those cards you do want in the future. By following these simple strategies, I was recently approved for the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. For the fifth mistake, we're going to talk about something that's so simple but so easily overlooked by many people out there. And that mistake is closing a no annual fee credit card. So why is this a mistake? The length of your credit history makes up about 15% of your credit score. And since many beginners out there focus on starting with those no annual fee credit cards, it's going to be those no annual cards that are going to be our longest history of credit accounts. For example, my oldest credit card is one that I opened with PNC back in 2018 when I was a senior in high school. And while I rarely use that card now because it doesn't really offer me many benefits or perks, it is a no annual fee card. So it costs me nothing to keep it open each year. By keeping it open, it continues to positively impact my credit score by contributing to the length of my credit history. All I really do is make 1 or 2 small purchases a year to keep my account active, and I recommend that if you're in a similar situation that you do the same. Keep your oldest no annual fee card open. Some people may say, oh, I don't really use this credit card anymore, there's really no point to keeping it open, so I'm going to go ahead and close it. But when you do close that credit account, that is going to eventually erase all of the credit history associated with it, which can then reduce the average age of your accounts and impact your credit score over time. Now, when it does come to annual fee cards, that might be a little bit different. For example, if you have a card like the Amex Platinum, which costs you $695 a year, you may decide that that card isn't really worth it anymore. And in that case, it would make sense to cancel. There really is no point to paying nearly $700 a year just for a card you no longer want to use. However, before closing an annual fee card, always double check to see if there is a downgrade option. Many card issuers do allow you to downgrade from an annual fee to a no annual fee version of the card just to keep your account open. For instance, the Chase Sapphire Preferred at $95 per year and the Chase Sapphire Reserve at $550 per year. Both have a no annual fee downgrade option to either the Freedom Flex or the Freedom Unlimited. So you can keep the same account open while eliminating that annual fee. So that's really a win-win situation for you. In summary, closing a no annual fee credit card is almost never worth it because it costs nothing to keep open and it helps maintain your credit history. For annual fee cards, carefully consider your options and cancel it if you no longer need it. But always double check to see if there are downgrade options first. By keeping your accounts open strategically, you'll protect your credit score and set yourself up for future long-term success. And finally, mistake number 6 is going to be applying for the wrong credit cards. This is a common mistake beginners make, often driven by flashy marketing materials or the appeal of premium cards that don't actually align with your spending habits. Here's the thing, credit cards are not one size fits all. Choosing the wrong card can leave you with benefits you don't use or a high annual fee that outweighs any rewards you earn. Before applying for a new credit card, take a look at your spending habits. For example, do you spend a lot on dining and travel? Cards like the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Amex Gold might make the most sense because of their elevated rewards in these categories. Or do you spend more on everyday purchases like gas or groceries? In that case, a flat rate cashback card like the Wells Fargo Active Cash might be a better fit because it earns 2% back on everything. The key is to pick a card that complements your spending patterns and your lifestyle. Some common traps to avoid are 1. Focusing only on welcome bonuses. While welcome bonuses can be exciting, they often come with high spending requirements that may not fit your budget. If you can't meet the spending requirement with your regular spending, then this card may just not be for you. 2. ignoring the annual fee. Premium cards often come with annual fees that only make sense if you can fully utilize their benefits. For example, a $250 fee on a travel credit card might not make the most sense for you if you don't travel frequently enough to take advantage of perks like lounge access or travel credits. And 3. Overestimating your usage. Cards offering category-specific rewards might seem appealing, but if you rarely spend in those categories, you're leaving rewards on the table. In order to choose the right card, do these 3 things. Track your spending. Use a budgeting app like Credit Karma or review your bank's credit card statements to review your spending. This way you can see which categories you spend the most in, whether it's travel, gas, groceries, etc., to see how your spending habits align. Next, compare your options. Look at multiple cards within the same categories. For example, if you're focusing on travel, look at all the different travel credit cards out there and compare which ones you're going to get the most use out of in terms of points, perks, and benefits. Lastly, think long-term. Choose a card you can stick with for years, especially if it has no annual fee. Constantly switching cards can hurt your credit score and make it harder to establish a solid credit history. Applying for the wrong card can leave you paying fees for benefits you don't use or missing out on rewards that align with your lifestyle. The best strategy is to do your research, understand your spending habits, and pick the card that works best for you. Don't go pick a card just because it looks really cool or it has a very flashy welcome bonus. So those are the 6 credit card mistakes to avoid as a beginner. Credit cards are an amazing financial tool if you know how to use them responsibly. And by avoiding these mistakes, you can save yourself a ton of stress and money. Let me know in the comments if you've made any of these mistakes or if you have any tips for beginners that I missed. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos about credit cards and personal finance. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.